Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to have some Division 19 gameplay. This is after the patch but before the season started, hence why I'm in Division 19. And in this gameplay we're going to be using Charles Oliveira, as after this patch he's received a number of upgrades to his moves. A lot of moves going from level 2 to level 3. I believe he was the fighter with the most upgrades on this patch, and this is after the performance against Tony Ferguson, so it makes sense for him to receive a bunch of upgrades. I mean, that was an astonishing performance in real life. And we're being matched up against Khabib. And this is very interesting because I wouldn't mind being on my back because I'm comfortable off there, especially with Oliveira. Khabib's obviously looking to be on top, on the ground. So it's interesting to see how this plays out. I don't mind the fight being on the feet. In fact, I'd prefer it to be on the feet. So I'm going to be looking to implement an anti-Khabib game plan. So I'm going to be looking to keep this striking. I'm going to do my best to deny the takedowns. I'm going to work Khabib's legs. And the new meta now is obviously the kickboxing. So that's what I'm going to look to implement with Charles Oliveira. And as you can see here, I'm being quite aggressive early on. I'm landing these leg kicks, and as you can see there, the beautiful new calf kick animation. I'm managing my distance, so when my opponent shoots for takedowns I can move backwards, and moving backwards is a form of denying the takedowns as long as I'm out of reach. And I've constantly got the takedowns on my mind. I'm looking to force the takedowns out of my opponent, and this is what you want to do when you're facing a Khabib. It doesn't matter who you're using, but specifically Charles Oliveira, RDA, I think are one of the, Dustin Poirier as well actually, are some of the fighters that are better equipped to be matched against Khabib. Charles Oliveira for me would probably be my favourite. I mean, coming into this fight I'm not bothered about the fight going to the ground, and I believe I have the tools on the feet to do more than enough damage to get Khabib out. So that's what I'm looking to do, is keep the fight on the feet and potentially get a finish from there. If the opportunity presents itself for me to get a finish on the ground, obviously I'd look to do so. And as you can see here, my opponent's shooting for these takedown attempts and he's not having much luck. And this is the perfect anti-Khabib game plan. If you're facing a Khabib, if you're facing a grappler, this is what you're going to look to do. You're going to want to look to manage your distance and target leg kicks. The new meta is kickboxing, so you're going to want to look to focus on kickboxing range, work your opponent's legs because the leg kicks feel really good now. Keep the combos short unless the opponent's rocked. When you do pressure, make sure to be reactive. I mean, the takedown's going to come because you want to force the takedown out. When your opponent's getting you in the clinch, just remain calm. Block high. They'll often then go for the takedowns to block low. Try not to get worked towards the fence. And against a wrestler, I'd say controlling the centre of the octagon would be a good thing, keeping their back towards the fence, because they can clinch you and move towards the fence and then work on getting your back from there. And as you can see, this is a perfect example of keeping your distance management on point. My opponent's shooting for takedowns that are way out of range, and therefore he's not grabbing onto my legs. And I've done a good job this round of working my opponent's legs and mixing up my strikes. As you see, my opponent gets me in the clinch there to go for the takedown. It doesn't work as I deny and I sprawl out of there. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to want to force a fight out of this Khabib that Khabib wouldn't have wanted. Khabib doesn't want to strike. He wants to take you down and dominate you from start to finish. And that round, I believe we denied around 7 takedown attempts, yeah. And we got 56 strikes off. And so that's our round, definitely. We're going into the next round, and that round's given me a lot of confidence. I mean, should only be a matter of time before Khabib can get me to the ground, but when my opponent eventually does get me to the ground, I've got the tools and I've done the work necessary on the feet, so when we eventually get back up, I can look to finish the fight from there. As you can see, early on in round 2, I'm pushing the pace and I'm working in the leg kicks. My opponent's had to change stance, so I immediately start attacking the other leg. And this is what you're going to want to do with this new meta of kickboxing, is you're going to want to damage the legs so much that they block the legs, and then you're going to work the head. and I believe that will probably be the meta going forwards for this patch. And as you can see, doing a very good job here of pressing my opponent. You see my opponent's very worried about the leg kicks and he's blocking low very frequently, and then I'll push into the boxing range, and when my opponent least expects it, I'll throw a leg kick, whether that be lead leg kick or the normal leg kick, doesn't matter. And as you can see, my opponent's getting frustrated, throwing head kicks from way out of range, hoping to hit me with something to look to change the fight. Shoots for a takedown, but I manage my distance well, so my opponent can't get it. And as you see, these leg kicks are already starting to do damage on the stance he just switched to. He's fighting from a southpaw stance. My opponent does get the takedown here and does deny the kill, so my opponent does a good job there. Not a lot of people deny that. And my opponent, I believe, gets the side control from here. Yeah, so my opponent does a good job there. And like I said, it's the first time being on the ground. My opponent's going to want to look to do significant damage, which is fine with me. My opponent goes for strikes here and I sway out of it. See, there he made a big mistake of just his frustration getting to him. He's just looking to implement some sort of damage, but unfortunately for him, we managed to sway out. And as you can see, going for the clinches here. I'm against the fence, which ideally I don't want to be there. We weather the storm because our block's in a good position, because we haven't taken too much damage. And now I'm working in the leg kicks, and my opponent's persistent on clinching. And that's fine, we've just got to work with it. I clinch my opponent back, and the game plan's going perfectly. He switched back to the orthodox stance where his leg isn't in the best position, so I'm targeting that quite heavily. And as you can see, I'm just very confident. I'm moving in and out of the pocket, I'm taking the strikes when I need to, and I'm swaying when I can, and I'm working these leg kicks beautifully. And my opponent switches stances again, hit him with the beautiful strikes there, then the uppercut to drop my opponent, get on top and finish my opponent off with the ground and pound. So that's the video. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.